This is the McInnis family history told from my dad's side. My dad never lived out of the state. He was born and raised in Hialeah and grew up with his grandmother. Gwen Collins was my dad's biological mother. She and her husband Jerry Collins were country singers and traveled to many places, especially in the UK. After their long marriage, they got divorced. Later, my grandmother met another guy, Harmon McInnis. They were never married, but they had my dad, Steve McInnis. After they had my dad, his mom was still traveling and singing by herself. She couldn't take my dad with her, so he was basically raised by his grandmother. Every couple years, she would come by and visit him. We don't have any pictures of my dad's dad, but we know that his name is Harmon McInnis. When my dad was born, he, for some reason, didn't want anything to do with him. He was a state trooper in Ocala and is still living in Ocala. And we know now that he is a born-again Christian. After my grandmother was done singing, she started smoking a lot, and later she got lung cancer. Eventually it got worse, and she died on May 24, 2004. But the cool thing is that every time a song of hers that she wrote comes up on the radio, which is very rare, my dad gets dividends, which is basically a small amount of money for her music.
How did you feel growing up without your biological parents?
Fine, I had no problem.
How did you feel growing up with the fact that your dad did not want to take care of you?
I had no problem with it.
In what ways did you look up to your grandmother?
To me, she was my mother. She's the one who raised me. When I lived.
When you were how old?
14.
And where did you work?
Shoe factory.
And about how much did you make?
My first paycheck was $190 for 2 weeks.
And you used that to support you and your grandmother?
Me and my grandmother lived off of.
When you were living at your grandmother's house, did your mom ever come visit?
Once in a while.
Once in a while. And did she ever send letters in between then?
Once in a while.
What's once in a while?
Once a year, every couple years.
Have you ever, or has your dad ever tried to come in contact with you?
No.
No, and you've never met him once your whole life?
Nope.
Do you know what he's doing now?